Hello all. Apparently the Zoom recording does not work on this laptop, so I'm forced to present my presentation on my phone. My name is Miles, and this is my semester garden journal or presentation. So week one, we received our transplants. I received kale, broccoli, and radishes. Unfortunately, while we were forced to keep them inside with all the smoke and all of that, I lost all of my kale, two of my broccoli. So I didn't start out on the best foot. So, but I stuck in there. I used half mesh pots for all of the broccoli, and I used the plastic pots for the seedlings. By week two, I started to transplant. I transplanted into or I seeded both radish and beets, about 4 or 5 per hole, and then I just took my best broccoli, and put it in the biggest pot, and kind of that was how that went out. By week three, I noticed that they weren't receiving enough sunlight, so I had to arrange them in this line. So I guess at the hottest point of the day, this is where all the light is. So this was just something I had to do in the end. Um, by week three, my beets, there was a noticeable difference in the beets. You see on the upper portion here, that is the store-bought soil, and the lower portion is the school soil. And I noticed that they did really well in the store-bought soil, but they only grew in a straight line with the school soil. And they all kind of grew around the same length too, so it made thinning very, very difficult. So I just kind of let survival of the fittest take over. My radishes, I could not tell the difference between the two soils. They all grew exceptionally well, at least a 1/4 inch tall in the school media, as well as the store-bought soil. And as I said, thinning was really difficult with this, without knowing which ones to pull. My broccoli, however, it had no preference towards soil either. They're at the third week, they were all around 8 inches tall. My main problems were caterpillars and whiteflies, and I didn't really want to use insecticide or anything like that, so I just went through and hand picked them off. My main concern at this point was girdling and all of that for some of the smaller pots, as they were starting to grow at a rapid rate. By week five, I decided to apply fertilizer. When I bought the store-bought soil, it actually came with a Miracle Grow shake and feed, which was a 10-10-10 NPK, and I saw promising results with that. My broccoli, as of 11/18, the smallest one was around 16 inches, with the largest being well over 2 feet. Um, I still see caterpillar damage, but it's nothing that's gonna take the plant down. Um, the main problem I noticed was the possible girdling again. The bottom portion of the stem was about half the size as the upper portion, and that really worried me. So I was forced to stake them to keep them from falling over. My radishes, we did have not possible, overcrowding with not knowing what to thin, but none of them really died off. So I was unsure of what to do at this point. Um, as I said, multiple leaves per plant, and we still have insect damage, but it's still growing like crazy. My beets, I did eventually find out why the pot on the left was not doing well. Apparently, there's a neighborhood cat that liked to dig out the center, and that was the main reason things weren't growing. And every time I reseeded, I would come back and he would dig it out again, so I just let it be. As of yesterday, I actually have an edible plant. My radishes, as I was watering and moved away some of the soil, I noticed that I have a few radishes, at least three, and they're all a little bit smaller than a golf ball. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I want to let them get a little bit bigger before I start harvesting, because when I see them in the store, they're usually a little bit larger than a golf ball. So I think they're a little small right now. For my successes, I think applying the fertilizer was a good idea, especially seeing some of the other students potted gardens and how it didn't look too great, especially with the radishes and all of that. Um, I just used a really light one, like a nothing powerful or to possibly harm it in any type of way. My failures was in, I would have to say, my transplanting. The kale didn't stand a chance. So I think I just need to figure out how to care for them while they're inside before I take them outside to transplant and harden off. Another failure was not getting large enough pots. So I'm currently dealing with the girdling of the broccoli at the moment. But we do have good news. I don't have a picture for this presentation, but I went out there today and I noticed about a gumball sized broccoli starting to sprout. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, what I learned was that no matter what happens, as long as you stay in there, things will get better. Like I said, I started out and all of my broccoli and all that was wilted, falling over, and I was unsure about how things were going to turn out, but I kept my head up. I applied my fertilizer, I watered daily, and I picked off the bugs, and I'm looking at edible plant material right here. As I said before, my name is Miles, and I want to thank you for listening to my presentation.